Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer from English with Jennifer. Let me ask you 3 questions. We'll see how easy it is for you to answer. 1. Which capital city is more bigger, Paris or London? 2. Name the most fastest animal in the world. 3. What would be the most ideal place for a 1-week vacation? Were you able to answer my questions? I don't think it was too difficult to understand what I asked, although all 3 questions had grammar mistakes. Did you recognize them? Look more closely. 1. Which capital city is more bigger, Paris or London? We don't put more and the suffix er together. It's one or the other. The correct question is, which capital city is bigger, Paris or London? 2. Name the most fastest animal in the world. We don't put most and the suffix est together. It's one or the other. The correct question is, name the fastest animal in the world. 3. What would be the most ideal place for a 1-week vacation? Well, I don't know what the answer to that is, but I do know that ideal is already perfect, and we don't usually talk about something being more perfect or the most perfect. Something is either ideal or not. No modifier is needed. It's better to ask, what would be the ideal place for a 1-week vacation? Some grammar mistakes are minor and they don't necessarily create misunderstandings, but they break standard patterns, so they sound a bit odd. Why make it harder for your listener to understand you? That's why I recommend using standard grammar. In this lesson, let's talk about common mistakes with adjectives and learn how to avoid them. Mistake number 1, using more and the suffix er together. Most adjectives are descriptive. They help us describe things. Often we can use comparative forms, which allow us to compare one thing to another. We add er to 1-syllable adjectives, and we use more before longer adjectives. Big, bigger. Tall, taller. Nice, nicer. More beautiful, more difficult, more complex. Note that some 2-syllable adjectives use the suffix er. Easy, easier. Pretty, prettier. We need to remember the spelling rules. We double the final consonant when the adjective ends in vowel plus consonant. We also change a final y to an I before adding er. Sometimes even native speakers don't know which form to use, more or er. That's when we turn to a dictionary to confirm. Stupid is one of the few adjectives that could use either form. It's correct to say stupider or more stupid. Mistake number 2, using most and the suffix est together. It's one or the other to form a superlative adjective. The most beautiful, the most difficult, the most complex. Again, there are exceptions. Narrow, narrower, narrowest. Happy, happier, happiest. These 2-syllable adjectives end in an unstressed vowel sound, so adding the suffixes for the comparative and superlative forms is the usual practice. Happy and narrow are 2-syllable adjectives. Think of the ing and ed adjectives you know. They include two-syllable adjectives. But these participial adjectives end in consonant sounds, ing, ed. So it's more likely that these participial adjectives will use more for the comparative and most for the superlative. More tired, most tired. More tiring, most tiring. Here are a couple more adjectives with two syllables. Which one uses the suffixes er and est, and which one uses more and most? Handy ends in an unstressed vowel, so handy, handier, handiest. Useful ends in a consonant sound, useful, more useful, the most useful. Quick quiz. Choose the correct form of the comparative or superlative adjective. Mistake number 3, trying to modify non-gradable adjectives. Remember my question about the most ideal place? It made sense, but it wasn't correct. That's because we don't usually talk about degrees of being ideal. Ideal is an absolute concept. Things are either ideal or they aren't. Ideal is an example of a non-gradable adjective. Non-gradable adjectives don't usually have a comparative or superlative form. And we don't use modifiers like very or a little bit or quite to increase or decrease the degree of that quality or state. Have you seen my lesson on intensifiers and downtoners? In that video, I go over words like very and quite. There are some adverbs we can use to modify non-gradable adjectives, like ideal. Absolutely ideal. Completely impossible. Totally unavoidable. Other non-gradable adjectives include noun modifiers. When we talk about a laptop computer, laptop modifies computer. What kind of computer? A laptop computer. But I can't say more laptop, less laptop, very laptop. Laptop is a noun modifier. It's not a descriptive adjective like expensive or good. Also, adjectives that help us classify people or things are usually non-gradable. I can talk about very healthy food, and I can say that Japanese food is likely healthier than American food. Healthy is a descriptive adjective, so very healthy and healthier are forms that work. However, it's a little weird to talk about food being more Japanese or less Japanese, because Japanese is an adjective that helps me classify things, like food. It would be better to talk about food being more typical or less typical of Japanese cuisine. Get it? Nationalities are classifying adjectives. In some situations, I could say, "Oh, that's so American," or "She's very American." And from context, you would understand that I'm talking about behavior or perhaps appearance. But in general, when we use adjectives to classify people or things, we don't use modifiers like more or very or so very. Quick quiz. Identify the non-gradable adjectives. Mistake number 4, using the wrong word order. Would you call this a little cute yellow pineapple or a cute little yellow pineapple? I would call it a cute little yellow pineapple because cute is an opinion adjective, and opinion adjectives go first. If you saw my lesson on the order of adjectives, you'll recall the commonly accepted order: opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, noun modifier, and then the head noun. There may be a little bit of variation there in the middle, but this is the commonly accepted order of adjectives. If you have 2 opinion adjectives, you can use and or a comma. A cute and cuddly toy, a cute cuddly toy. In some other languages, an adjective can follow a noun, but in English, we place an adjective before the head noun. A talented artist, a wonderful speech, a relaxing vacation. Another common pattern in English is to use an adjective after a linking verb to describe or identify the subject. Isabella is talented. The speech was wonderful. Vacations are not always relaxing. Adjectives in this position are subject complements. They complement or complete the subject. One exception is a reduced adjective clause. If I tell you that I'm hungry for something salty, I'm really saying that I'm hungry for something that is salty. I omitted the relative pronoun that and the form of be, is, something salty. In this case, I can have an adjective follow a noun or pronoun, something salty. Here are 2 more examples. Can you understand which words I omitted, which words I left out? They're looking for a candidate skilled in negotiation. They're looking for a candidate who is skilled in negotiation. A financial advisor is someone knowledgeable about investments. A financial advisor is someone who is knowledgeable about investments. Quick quiz. Correct the order of adjectives if necessary. Okay, we'll end here. Please remember to like and share the video if you found the lesson very useful, totally accessible, and more or less interesting. As always, thanks for watching and happy studies.
Hey, did you know that Super Thanks is a new way to support my channel? Click on the heart to learn more. To those who've already purchased a Super Thanks, thank you so much. I appreciate your generosity. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Why not join me on Patreon? And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube.